Alright, hello everybody. This is kind of gonna be a, just kind of an update video, I guess. Kind of a podcast video. I'm gonna be playing some Rico gameplay underneath this, just to have something to look at. But, yeah, I just wanted to talk about what's been going on with the channel. We had a successful video, the first part of a trilogy, like a week ago. That was the squirrel stapler video, which I'm pretty proud of. It actually wasn't one that I've, put the most work into, which is weird. But that's usually how it goes. I mean, I usually have, I put a bunch of work into one video, then it gets, 6 views, and I'm like, oh, great. Then I do kind of just a random video for fun, and then I put a bunch of work into the next video, and then repeat. But whatever. That's a good one. I did 2 more videos after that are kind of the same continuity. That's the Earl's Day Off video and the Lakeview Cabin video. Lakeview Cabin one was one that I wanted to play since the beginning of the channel because I'm a huge Lakeview Cabin fan. I was really involved in the sequel that came out on Steam, Lakeview Cabin Collection. Very involved in that, and yeah, I mean it's a fun game. I check it out. I mean people have done videos on it before, but that's the one thing that I was really into when I was smaller. So yeah, just wanted to give an update about what's happening so far, what happened so far, and what's going to happen later. I'm probably going to I might do a more in-depth Rico video, just because it's it's an addicting game that I've been really pumping a lot of hours into, and it's a lot of fun. There's going to be a witch hunt video, because I'm kind of into that whole thing right now, that kind of 17th century horror feel. So yeah, there's going to be a witch hunt video. That's the next one coming out. Then maybe a Rico video, but this one might just be a Rico video. I'm not sure. Yeah, this was just more going to be like a test on whether I can run off the cuff for myself. But yeah, it's just an update on everything. Goddamn, Mike is making the popping noise again. That's the main problem I'm having. I'm not sure what it is doing, but why it's doing that. But it's really fucking annoying, and it's like you can hear it. You can hear it in the videos sometimes. But let's talk about some things here. I had a subject I wanted to bring up that was quite interesting to me, that I wanted to bring up actually in one of the first few videos, but I just forgot about it because it's kind of a strange little series of events. It has to deal with Black Jake from State Farm. Now, if you don't know who Black Jake from State Farm is, it's the new commercial. It's not really new. It's a commercial that came out recently. That's a remake of a older commercial that I do remember. Excuse me. And let me pop open a cold one here. God damn it! Fucking. There we go. Black Jake from State Farm. Okay, so I remember when I first watched this advertisement. It was on TV, and it was strange because it was just the same ad that I remember. I almost thought that they were just playing the same ad from before, but I thought it was a white guy, and that was very, for a second I was like, wait a second, is this just this ad that I remember that they're just playing randomly, and it was a black guy? I mean, it's like, what? So that piqued my curiosity enough to actually look it up. And they didn't show the full commercial on TV. The full commercial it's the same as the previous one, and it says, what are you wearing, Jake from State Farm? He's like, khakis. And then he turns and he's like, do they usually ask you what you're wearing? And it's the white guy from the previous commercial, and he goes, yeah, and that's the end of the commercial. Now, the problem with that is the first part of the commercial is literally just the original commercial of the couple, like, you doing the whole bit, and then it cuts to the what are you wearing. Now, I don't get the joke. What is the joke there? Or what's the twist? What am I supposed to get from this series of events? That they're in a time loop? Does every Jake from State Farm have to call this certain couple? Are they like a test couple or something? What's going on? I really don't understand. And I don't understand what point they're trying to get across here, but it confused me enough to interest me, but not to irritate me. I was just like, okay, whatever, and then I just kind of went about my day. Cut forward a few weeks. I'm on Twitter, and I'm scrolling through, and I see a State Farm ad. And guess who's the face of the State Farm ad? Black Jake from State Farm. And he's the face of almost all of the State Farm ads now, which is strange. It's just a random one-off character in one of their ads that they are pushing to be in a bunch of them. So I'm like, what? Why is this random character the face of the State Farm? So I click on the ad. It's a Twitter ad, so it's just like a little page. I click on it just to see what people are saying, if they're confused about like what's happening with this ad campaign here. So I click and I scroll down to the comments. In the comments, it's some of the funniest shit I've ever seen. It's people saying, "We remember White Jake." We stand with White Jake. It's like, apparently, they're seeing it as a what's the opposite of whitewashing? Blackwashing? What's the word? Color coding? I don't know what the fuck. But there's like it's filled with comments saying like we don't stand for, you know, color coding our beloved Jake from State Farm. It's like, who's... I don't get how you can care enough, and that was the shifty part, but I don't get how you could care enough about the character Jake from State Farm to take the time out of your day to write a comment saying you stand with White Jake from State Farm. That was what was interesting to me. Is the fact that people took the time out of their day to comment that. But, you know, it's whatever. People are people. And that was kind of interesting, and that got me thinking. Is this a real, actual issue that people have with you know, the ad? Are people really genuinely having an issue with a Black Jake from State Farm? So I decided to type into Google, Black Jake from State Farm. And there are like top two articles are saying why Jake from State Farm needed to be recast. Like, they needed to recast Jake from State Farm, a one-off ad with a black guy, and do the same exact ad, like that's something that they needed to do. Why they needed to recast Jake from State Farm. That's a genuine... I'll probably put up a picture. And the next one is Jake from State Farm and White Fragility. That's the other article. And it's such a ridiculous fucking set of titles that I cannot believe it to be a real thing. I can't believe that these are genuine articles. I'm not clicking on them because I don't want to give them the time of day. But I'm gonna rant about him because I have a conspiracy theory that I want to run across you guys about Jake from State Farm and State Farm ad campaigns here. I want to run it across you. So, I'm wondering, was this entire thing the ad where they did the same exact thing as before, except with a black guy, and the whole push of this character, and then the comments underneath it and the articles, was this all a giant publicity stunt for State Farm to try to make it seem like they're diversifying a beloved character, Jake from State Farm, and they're trying to diversify it and make it seem like it's a topic, a legitimate topic that people are talking about? Did they, like, push this campaign with this nonsensical ad and then post a bunch of comments underneath it saying, "We stand with white Jake from State Farm," and then, like, pay people to write these two articles about why Jake from State Farm needed to be recast? Is this all a publicity stunt? A failed publicity stunt, because nobody else is fucking talking about this thing besides me, and it's really interesting, because I genuinely think that's the case. I think that they tried to create a bunch of articles and a bunch of, like, comments trying to create controversy about fucking Jake from State Farm, and nobody bought it. Nobody took the bait. Even Twitter, nobody on Twitter was like defending Black Jake from State Farm. It's very strange. Very strange. I'm not sure what their plan is now. They're still pushing Black Jake from State Farm. They're still pushing him. I don't quite know what their plan is. If they still think this is like this is gonna work. Black Jake is gonna work. I'm not sure what they're pushing, but keep at it, State Farm. I think you'll get the ball rolling sometime. I'm sure Black Jake from State Farm will work out for you, but so far I don't see anybody taking that bait there, buddy. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. That's my thoughts on Black Jake from State Farm. Now, the other topic I wanted to bring up is Myles Standish, self-proclaimed Captain Myles Standish. Now, I'm sure you've heard this name before. Myles came over on the Mayflower with the Pilgrims, and what Myles' job was to keep those fucking cultist morons alive while they built their little town. And people don't like to talk about Myles a lot because he's the ugly side of Americans getting their foothold, well, Europeans getting their foothold in America. Sorry, Native American people. But he was the kind of brutal motherfucker that was needed to kind of make sure that these idiots survive in this harsh climate of northeastern United States of America and the winter. And kind of wanted to go off on this more serious topic. I wanted to go off on a little bit of a tangent about our captain here, because I don't feel like people talk about him enough, and I think he's kind of an interesting dude. Now, I'm very well read on Myles Standish, and when I say I'm well read, I mean I've read his Wikipedia page, and so from what I've gathered, I'm kind of going off of my memory here from what I read yesterday. Excuse me. And from what I read, he seemed like just a regular dude. He's from somewhere in England. But he wanted to be kind of a military guy, or he was good at being a military guy. He was a merc in Holland during whatever fucking Holland war they had. I don't know. So yeah, he was a mercenary in Holland, and the Pilgrims came to him and they said, "Hey, we need you to come over with us to America and help us get our foothold in this new, wide open land ready for the taking." He was like, "Sure, whatever." So they paid him to come aboard, and they made the journey to America on boats, where half of them died in the first winter, including his wife, unfortunately. So yeah, that was not the greatest start. So you can kind of see how things weren't looking very good for Myles. He wasn't having a very good time in America at first. But luckily, there was a guy there that knew how to speak English already, and they're like, "What?" And this guy was named Squanto, or to Squantum, as his real name was when we kind of fucking anglicized it. Anglicized it. So Squanto was a real bro to the Europeans. He had been taken to Europe before, and taught English, and then he returned to America for some reason. He returned. I should have really fucking read up more before I started talking about this. But, yeah, so Squanto learned English in, Europe, and then he came back, and he kind of hung out with his tribe, and then when the Pilgrims landed, he came over and he was like, "Hey, you guys are gonna fucking die here. Let me help you out." So, to Squantum, basically made it so that they did not die in you know, the first winter. Some of them got sick. There was like a sickness or something, and they died. And if there was like starvation, you know, the general things of New England winter when you don't know what you're doing there. And yeah, he was a real bro. He really helped him out. And Myles Standish, he grew to appreciate the natives, kind of, in a way, right? And Squanto's tribe, I think the Massasoit, I think. I'm going off of, I'm not doing research. This is a purely flow. This is purely feel me flow here, alright? I'm going off the cuff. The Massasoit, they had formed an alliance with the previous head of the colony, I believe. And so Standish and the other guy, who was more of like the diplomat, kind of were grandfathered into helping this tribe with everything that they needed, and it was kind of a symbiotic relationship between the Massasoit and the Pilgrims. Now, along with Squantum in the tribe, there was a guy named Havamak, who he and Squanto were kind of like, I guess, the scouts, kind of like, you know, like diplomatic, talking to other tribes, and so the Squantum and Havamak were sent out to talk with another group of natives who were in the same tribe, or were kind of near the same tribe. But the problem with these group is they were starting to undermine the leadership of the Massasoit, right? They were trying to kind of overthrow them, I think, which, you know, that's how some tribes go. Everything goes, really. There's always a group that wants to, you know, whatever. And then so that he sent to Squantum and Havamak, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, to go talk to this group. What the fuck is... Okay, I'm gonna look up the name. I have, Corbitant. Corbitant? What kind of a native name is that? The fuck? Corbitant. Okay, whatever. That sounds like an Italian torturer. So yeah, they sent a guy. They sent to Squantum and Havamok to go parlay with this guy named Corbiton, and they captured Squanto and was like, "Hey, fuck you." And Havamok was like, "Oh well, this isn't good." So he ran back to the tribe. Now, there's some favors owed, and Massasoits were like, "Hey, we need your help with your technology here. Like we're rocking bows and arrows and shit. You guys got large sticks that you press a button and then a guy 400 feet away from you drops dead. We kind of need your help here." And Myles was like, "Yeah, this seems kind of like a kind of an issue here. That might call into question certain deals that we have going. So yeah, I'll take some men and Havamok, and we'll go deal with this problem that you got." So they went along their way, guided by Havamok, and Myles and Havamok kind of bonded on the trip there, and they actually became some pretty close-knit buddies. And Havamok actually lived with Myles in his house up until he died, which is pretty interesting. So that's kind of like an odd kind of thing, very strange. So it kind of wondering if it's like, because when you think colonizing, you think oh, these savages don't deserve this land. We're gonna take it from but the way Standish did it is very weirdly diplomatic, which is, and kind of like treating them like another just group of people besides like animals, very odd, against what you think is the type. So I'll go on more into that later, but so they took the group, and then they went in, and then they were like, okay, let's go get Squanto. So they snuck into their camp and then jumped into their tent while they were sleeping and shot at them, and then they all ran away, and then they got Squanto and went back, and everything was a-okay for the meantime, at least. So after that, there was some threats by some tribes. So there was kind of a little more militarization going on. They reinforced the fort. He started training more men, and everything was kind of getting on its way towards becoming a genuine place to be. Now, here's the more controversial part, in a way, is there was another tribe that was threatening another colony, European colony, near them, and I think they believe they were called the Massachusetts tribe, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I believe it's the Massachusetts, and they were threatening another colony, and they kind of there were rumors that they had overtaken the colony, and Myles Standish was like, okay, let's go do something about this. So he took a group of men, and he went into where the colony had been, and posing as traders, and he saw that it's been overtaken. The Massachusetts tribe took over the colony. They're starting to live with the tribe more, and that's just the way it is. So Myles did not think that was very cool. So he went up to the leader of the tribe, or one of the leaders of the tribe, and was like, "Hey, what's going on here?" And the leader of the tribe knew who he was, because I guess his name spread throughout the other tribes, and he's like, there was a bit of a rivalry going on there, and he was like, "Hey," the native guy was like, "Hey, listen, You're a great captain, but you're a little man. All right, I'm a much greater man than you. I'm more brave than you'll ever be. And Myles was like, hey, you want to get dinner sometime? And he's like, okay. So they went to dinner. They went and got dinner in a house. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't insult a mercenary to their face and then accept their offer for dinner. So they went to dinner. They went to a little kind of cabin, little house thing to have food, and there was Myles, a couple of his soldiers, and then there was the leaders of the tribe, and a few of their soldiers, and some of the women who were cooking there, and so they kind of sat around, and then you know, just as you do when you're gonna eat dinner, and then Myles gave the signal. So his men locked the doors. Myles grabbed the dude's fucking knife, his own knife, and stabbed him to death with it. His two men shot the soldiers in the room, and then one of which was the other leader, and then they left the house. Myles says, okay. So they end up shooting two more guys, two more warriors, and the kind of other leader of the group is like, oh shit, he sees what's going on, so he and a group of other tribesmen, warriors, get the fuck out of Dodge and run away. Myles and his men chase after him, right, and they end up intercepting them a little away from the colony. And they kill a bunch of the warriors, but the main guy ends up getting away, so they don't kill him. But it's considered a success because they just like single-handedly took out like the entire warrior population of the tribe. And they went back to the colony. They got all the Europeans. They're like, okay, you guys, you fucking idiots, let's go back. They took them back, sent them to Europe, and that was the end of that. But the problem is, when you straight up just massacre a tribe of warriors, who had just, you know, were just sitting around, that doesn't look too good for white people. Even if, you know, you were asked by, or when you were planned it with other people, you know, and it was kind of a joint effort, you know, they're like, everyone was kind of looking down on Myles. Even though he was just the soldier who did the shit, there was the other guy, you know, who at least he didn't like what the actions he took, but it's war, all right? I mean, it's like, what actions are you gonna take, you know? I guess that's the more shifty part of Mr. Standish's military career is single-handedly taking out a bunch of natives that had taken over a colony, you know? So that was kind of the dark spot, but, you know, some people defended him, some people just didn't talk about it. So after that, it was kind of a few more, just, not very, what's the term for it? Exciting military actions by Mr. Standish. There's one where there was a colony of guys that the Puritans, or not the Puritans, so the Pilgrims, are the Pilgrims Puritans? I think they're kind of Puritan-esque, but there's a difference with where the Puritans wanted to fix the church. The Pilgrims just wanted to completely separate from it. I think that's that or vice versa. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. But the Pilgrims thought this other colony was being a little too party-centric. They're kind of getting drunk and, you know, having parties all the time. And they didn't like that, so they sent Myles to go arrest the leader of the colony for being a party man. That's an actual thing that they did. And So he went over there, and he was like, "Hey, you're under arrest." The guy pulled a weapon on him, and he snatched it out of his hand. Myles snatched the weapon right out of his hand, like a puppy dog who has a newspaper, you know. He's like, "Get that out of your fucking mouth, dude." And then he arrested him, and then he brought him back to England, and a few of them back to England. And then the other military thing he did was the French took over a fur trading outpost, I believe. And he went there with a captain of a ship to go do a bombardment with cannons from the sea. But the captain, against Standish's orders, decided to fire earlier than he needed to. So he completely missed every single cannon, and they ran out of ammo. So they just went back, and nothing came of that. So that was the further military exploits of Myles Standish. After that, Myles took a back seat from military service. He became more of like a planner and just an overall kind of head of like state, I guess, kind of helping things management and stuff. And then he moved to a place nearby, Duxbury, I think. Duxbury, Duxbury, I believe. And that was it. And he lived to like 70 something, which is strange for someone of that particular area of expertise, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, so I mean, interesting guy, interesting life, a lot of action going on there. I don't know why I brought this up. Why did I bring this up? I wanted to talk about it because it's kind of an interesting subject that people don't talk about. I guess I just wanted to. I was wondering. So if someone of this particular time period, of this background and what they were accomplishing, do people consider him a bad guy? I guess is what I'm trying to, because we've kind of shifted from talking about the Mayflower and everything to kind of putting that more in the back seat of like people who kind of kick-started a bad thing. But it's kind of a weird topic, talking about European settlement of Americas, because you think about what happened later, right? Like the the persecution and everything of the people that lived here before, and I understand talking about it at that particular period, but I think we should think about people of this particular period not as bad. I think it's just a bunch of people looking for a place to live, and this was like the prime candidate. And I think it's actually kind of impressive that they were able to survive out here when so many people had failed. And the fact that they were able to kind of like make their way through diplomacy and helping out tribes and kind of weird maneuvering around other tribes and going to war with these tribes and allying with these tribes. It's a very interesting way that they went about it, and I wonder if what negates what, I guess, in terms of like what they stand for in the future, like it's them teaming up with one tribe. Does that make it so them going to war with another tribe not so bad, I guess, is what I'm wondering. Or is it kind of like a seen as a form of manipulation, I guess, which I don't think it is. I think it was they came there, They allied with who they could, and then they bunkered down and did what needed to be done. You know? But even if you see it in the light of their, you know, maneuvering their way around these tribes in a malicious manner, you know, which, you know, I don't think that's like exactly what they were doing. Maybe slightly, but not super. It is pretty impressive because it's one mercenary with a bunch of fucking crazy people, cultists. Yeah, the harsh word. Religious nuts settling in a place filled with groups, tribes of trained warriors and hunters, and they were somehow able to maneuver their way around not dying and actually holding their own against these tribes, which I think is pretty, like, respectable, I guess. What, I don't know what the word is for it. I guess it's, yeah, respectable, but not admirable. I don't know what the word is. Something like that. And it's pretty interesting to see that he was able to, you know, pull this off with what they had. I mean, they had guns, but if you think about it, they weren't, you know, they weren't walking around gunning down tribes with AR-15s. They had guns that took like 30 seconds to load per gun, right? So, I don't know. It's interesting, and I wonder if you know, what people think about it, about this particular area of history in America. But yeah, that's Myles Standish, I guess. So I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble about random bullshit, I guess. I don't know if I'm going to do another video like this for a while. This is just kind of like me talking about random things that I was interested in at this time. But yeah, more videos coming up. Please subscribe, I guess. And have a good day, I guess. Later.